Right to the spin room now. We have Amy Klobuchar with Caitlin Huey-Burns and Ed O'Keefe. Caitlin?
Here we go.
Hi, Elaine. Senator Klobuchar, thank you so much for being here. So after this debate, I understand you're heading back to Washington to do your day job. Can you tell us kind of how this is going to impact your campaign? Are you anxious at all about having to go back and kind of manage coming back here to campaign in Iowa, especially since you've been talking about how this needs to be a state where you need to do well?
You know, I have a constitutional duty to be a juror. And I can't think of anything more important than that. We have a president that put his own private interests in front of the interests of the country, his own partisan interests in front of the country. And so our job is to hear the evidence. And I will be back. I'm going to find ways. You have Sundays off in an impeachment trial, and actually most of this next weekend, and so I'll be able to come back. My family will be here campaigning for me. My daughter is actually quite a good campaigner, as is my husband. And then we've got so many endorsements here in Iowa, people that will be in the rooms that will be able to speak for me.
And tonight I think we saw this race turn into this discussion about gender and electability. You've been someone who's been talking about this on the debate stages in the past and also on the campaign trail. Are we seeing kind of a shift in this campaign at all, or a different kind of way this is going, given that this was highlighted tonight by Senator Warren?
You know, I was not in the room with the two of them, so I don't know what happened. But what I do know is that a woman can win, and I've been making that case from the beginning. The question is raised more than you think, and that's why I've pointed out you don't have to be the tallest person in the room. James Madison was 5'4". You do not have to be the loudest person. I think America is looking for something different. And what I bring to this that's different than anyone else on the stage is receipts. I actually have won in those red and purple districts, in the rural districts, in the suburban. It's not just talking points for me. It's actually victories. And I think we want someone leading the ticket that can build that coalition. And I also think we want someone that knows how to get things done. I've passed over 100 bills as the lead Democrat since I got to Washington. You can read up on it at amyklobuchar.com.
Did you do what you think you needed to do tonight to sort of crack that four-way or four-member tier at the top that these polls keep showing us exists?
I think it went well. I had the opportunity to finally make the case why I think they're not thinking big enough on our education system. The fact that they are not really connecting their education plans for what the jobs are in our economy, and that was a good opportunity for me. And I also got to make the case for electability, but I have to do more. We are on the rise. We've been gaining in the polls slowly but surely, and we have a lot of support here in Iowa as well as in New Hampshire and building our operations in the other early states. So I felt good about the debate, and there will be more to come.
You mentioned how Democrats would like to call 4 specific witnesses to this impeachment trial. You know, Republicans would like to call a handful of other people. It appears there are enough Republicans interested in voting for at least some witnesses. Probably some Republicans would vote with Democrats to get guys like John Bolton to show up. Do you know of any Democrat that would vote to call Hunter Biden or Joe Biden to show up?
You know, that's going to be a negotiation that's going on right now with the Senate, with the president's lawyers, with the House managers, and we'll figure it out. My main point is that we have only 4 witnesses that we've asked for that have highly relevant information, including John Bolton, who says he wants to testify, who is literally the gatekeeper for so much information on national security for the president. We've got Mick Mulvaney, who is the president's acting chief of staff, who is the one that made the decision to hold back the aid from a fledgling democracy when the president tried to get dirt on a political opponent. Mr. Duffy, who has smoking gun emails that show that 90 minutes after the president made the call to the head of Ukraine, this guy writes, "Hey, hold back the money." Come on, these are witnesses we should hear from. And as I said today, if Mitch McConnell and the Republicans want to stop those witnesses, they may as well hand the president a crown and a scepter, because in America, the president's not supposed to be the king. The law is supposed to be the king.
Now, I know you've been justifiably consumed by what's going on here.
Yeah.
But you are going back to Washington.
Mm-hmm.
You are the top Democrat on what's called the Rules Committee in the
That's
Senate.
right.
Which
I was
deals,
waiting for someone to ask this.
Well, which
Only
deals
you
with
would know this.
which deals with a lot of housekeeping issues. And there's a pretty controversial one that's
Yes,
being
there
considered
is.
right now regarding some pretty severe restrictions on the press covering this trial. They want to put up a magnetometer to even get into the Senate chamber for reporters, something that's never been done before. They want to restrict our access down by the subways that you use to get back and forth into the building. Are you aware of this?
Yes.
And would you support this?
No, I don't support it, and I have been in contact with both sides on this issue. I've made very clear, I've talked to Senator Blunt about this, that I thought we should have open access for the press. They tried this one other time when Senator Shelby was heading up the Rules Committee, when they tried to restrict the press. Maybe you remember this, in the certain areas in the Senate, and I opposed it. I was very outspoken. I think this is a big mistake. I see no reason why you wouldn't have open area. I wanted to actually open it more and allow laptops to be used in the press gallery in the chamber. So we have been debating this for a long time, and I am, in the end, Mitch McConnell is the majority leader until I lead our ticket to the presidency and win big and bring the U.S. Senate and send him packing. Until then, he is in charge of these decisions.
Have they given you any reason why they want to do this in such a restrictive manner?
Well, they claim it is security. I really don't think that's true. We've had very high-profile votes and high-profile subjects at hearings, and we have not restricted access in that way. There's always got to be rules about where people can go and where they can't, but I don't know why at this very important moment where you would want to allow the people to see it, they're deciding to pull back access. I have my own theories, of course, and they're not good ones. It's because they don't want people to interview senators and be able to have them talk. Well, senators are free. They can't talk while they're in there. You know, they're listening to the evidence. They can tell the press, I haven't made a decision yet. That's fine. Many of us are saying we want to hear the evidence, but you can't cut us off from talking to the press. I just disagree with this. I'm the daughter of a reporter, staunch believer in the First Amendment, and I think this is wrong. But thank you, because you're the first person that asked me and realized that I'm the ranking on the Rules Committee.
I knew you'd have an opinion, and I knew you'd probably try to do something about this.
Yeah.
Senator, you're from Minnesota, obviously, and we're talking a lot about Iowa voting, but Minnesota actually starts early voting soon, right?
They do, and we actually are a Super Tuesday state, and so I'm excited about that. We're having a big event on Friday night to celebrate that in Minnesota, and with a bunch of my supporters, including the mayors of both cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, one of whom was here today, including the governor, the lieutenant governor, who's the highest ranking American Indian elected anywhere in the country. So it's going to be a big party, and you're invited, I guess.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Minnesota goes first.
Well, Senator, we're going to let you go, and I'm going to point you in the direction of our short, young colleague here who's been waiting quite patiently.
Thank you.
I'll urge you to take that off camera, but thank you for joining us. We'll see you back in D.C.
Literally your colleague.
No,
I'm just
well,
ready to accept
they come younger and
she'll
younger
probably
these
be our
days.
boss one day. So
We'll be
anyway,
working for her.
thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much.